Hey everyone, Burned here from Burnstone TV Gaming, and today we are going to start a new series where we use a specific weapon for corrupted dungeons. In this video, it is going to be the Great Frost, and we are going to learn how to use it, and it is going to be a guide for new players mostly. This is our starting build. We have the Great Frost, the Hunter Hood, the Mercenary Jacket, any plate shoes, the Guardian Boots here that I'm using, Limber Escape, healing pots, and the beef stew. In the course of this video, consider this sort of like a zero to hero. We're learning the build as we go, and each fight, win or lose, there is going to be a little bit of analysis so that I can learn and you can learn from my mistakes and from my wins as well. So if you are ready and you're a new player and you want to learn how to use the Great Frost Staff, this is the video for you. Let's go. Oh shit. GG, sir. A mil for that right away. Cool. Alright, so for that, I used the Frost Lance and the Q1 over here because he had Purge. So I could have used the Mercenary Jacket with the Frost Beam against a melee because it does deal a lot of damage, and the Mercenary Jacket also does give you a lot of heals. But he had the Purge Helmet, which was this one right here. So he could have easily purged my Mercenary Jacket. But I also could have just baited it with just using the Guardian Boots. Because usually when they do have purges on their helmets, they mostly use it for purging boots. So I could have just baited that too, but I opted with this one right here. Extra damage, low cooldown, shreds the resistance. This gives you extra damage when you're accurate, and your E just deals a lot of damage. And so super low cooldown as well. This is very underrated damage actually. If you cannot reflect this, this deals a lot, so. Oh shit, it's a Spirit Hunter. What the heck? Damn! Look at you dodging stuff. Oh my gosh, he's dodging so well. Good job. Alright, so that was a little bit of an odd build. You rarely will see a Spirit Hunter in Corrupted Dungeon, so that was weird. But the build that I used there is the same as the against the Dual Sword. I just switched to the Healing Pot. I switched to the Healing Pot because I knew he didn't really have any burst damage that I can block with a Gigantify Potion, or I can negate with a Gigantify Potion. He had double reflect, or triple reflect, which is actually a very difficult thing to deal with. Double reflect here. Double reflect with the Hunter Hood and with the deflecting spin. And you have to be very careful when you're using your E ability, because this has a 0.4 seconds of like wait time before it actually deals damage, and it can be telegraphed. The first one can be quick casted, if you will, like they won't be able to time it, but the second can be easily timed. So you have to be very careful when you're going against spears. Again, Spirit Hunter is not very common, but the deflecting spin, you have to be conscious about that. So I also went with just the double reflect over here because I can reflect the spears, and I don't necessarily wanted to go with the beam and the Bloodlust combo because he has this E, which if you stand, it deals damage, and if you are, you know, beaming, frost beaming, a deflecting spin, it does deal damage to you. 100% reflect, but it does heal you a little bit. But I just didn't want to stand in the E that he has and be reflected both times. Wanderlust. Did you start? Alright, that's the same person earlier. The only thing that I failed to explain in the last one was I used Gigantify Potion. Whenever I'm using Gigantify Potion and my opponent's also using a Gigantify Potion in when they're using dual swords, is that when they use Gigantify Potion, one thing that you can do actually is use your boots. If they use Gigantify Potion and they don't have the splitting slash, use your boots away from them so they waste their Gigantify Potion. And if they are doing the same and they're trying to catch to you, it is unfortunate that he was on Wanderlust here, but when they use Gigantify Potion, you use your boots to run away from them. They use their boots as well. So this lasts 6 seconds and the boots lasts 5 seconds. So you're basically negating their Gigantify Potion, you're negating their boots as well. And since he doesn't have any more sources of mobility, well, I guess except for these, you can catch up because you have that Frost Lance that has unlimited range basically. And you also have this with pretty decent range. So that's how you deal with that build. If I have a Curse Staff, I would have them in Hunter Shoes more than anything. That's a normal bow. I didn't even know it was a normal bow. Aw, that's unfortunate. Alright, so for that one, again, fairly simple. I do like to brawl with this build, so I still use the Frost Lance. Most would use the Frost Nova against a bow, especially when they do have the Frost Shot, because you can counter the Frost Shot with your Frost Nova. They have essentially almost the same cooldowns, the same range and all that. But I do like the Frost Lance because it has more damage. Even if they use their Frost Shot, and especially when they have the Deadly Shot, you do still have that range advantage. And you can spam this every 8 seconds, 7.5 with the cooldowns on these ones. Still on the Inferno Shield, still on the Reflect, so that you can actually deal more damage with your Reflex. And you use your healing pots for this against this build, against bows in general, because they don't have burst. You can just heal through their damages. Good job. Ooh, that was interesting. Almost died there. All right, so for that one, again, a normal bow, same set of skills. The only difference against that bow was he was using this. This makes you invisible, increases your next attack by a certain damage. This is 227. And the one mistake that I did there was I E'd into his Guardian Helmet. I should have waited for the Guardian Helmet to be over before I double E'd. But, you know, those are things that are not really that crucial, but it would have been nice. He was using a explosive arrow here, which does deal burst damage. So I didn't want to be too close to him, hence the lens. And the reflect also helps. Once they use their boots, that usually means they are going to be on the offensive. So I popped my Hunter Hood, but he was good enough to, you know, run away or not attack while I had my Hunter Hood on. But usually when they use their boots, try to have reflect with you, and also healing pots because they don't have burst damage. Okay, that was a little weird. I missed a lot of skills, but just in general, what you want to do against builds like that is go with Gigantify. So the reason why I switched to the Giant ability against that build is he used the Night Boots skill. This gives him basically zero mobility. Since I don't really need to catch up to him, I just went and switched over to the Giant ability, because I can match his boots with my boots as well. I switched to the Gigantify potion to cancel this one right here. This pushes you, depending on the stacks. The fear duration is dependent on the stacks. So when you get feared, or when you feel like you're going to get feared, usually when like a lot of stacks, you can use the Gigantify potion, which immunes you to force movements like the fear for this. So I did mistime my Q1. I did see him use his Cleric Robe. I should have waited instead of attacking him. That's why I triggered this Everlasting Spirit. And I also kind of panicked, used my Hunter Hood when he used his Clerical, so don't do that as well. Oh my gosh, he's running away. Oh, he's getting tagged. Oh no. That's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. Alright, that was kind of odd, but that is how the Mercenary Jacket with the Frost Beam works. So you use your Mercenary Jacket first, and then use it with the Frost Beam. This ticks every 0.3 seconds, and this has 7 ticks. So essentially, in like 2 seconds, you have used all of the Mercenary Jacket. And this is really good because for 2 seconds, it heals you. How much? A lot, actually. It heals you a lot. So 93. It heals you for 93 per. That's how you use it. And the reason why I use that skill against this person is because he did not have any interrupts as well. And yeah, he has one reflect. It's an 85%, but it is fairly easy to just bait it out. He did also have the Mercenary Jacket. Not a lot of ways to like burst me. So I knew I can actually use the Mercenary and then the beam. And also that helps with lowering the attack speed of the axe. So it is actually really good against dual swords as well. Granted that they don't have any interrupts or purges. All right, that was me cheesing a little bit. I saw him with low health or not full health. So I just attacked him so he gets in combat so he doesn't heal. So that's a little bit of a cheese. But pretty much what you want to do against this build is you want to still have the Frost Lance. This is a very limited range weapon, especially with the E. Yeah, he can use the W ability to get some range or to close at the range. You can use this, but if you have the Frost Lance and you can just like tag him, you can easily win the exchange. Plus you do have this, which is very difficult to predict if you are using this specific set, because you're trying to get close as possible. With this, he was able to hit me with this because I tried to cheese, so wasn't really trying to be strategic there. But for Wildfire, you actually want to use your major healing pots. You switched? Really? Gigantify too? Gigantify too, really? That is very interesting. Why did you switch? All right, so that was three different fights. So at first he was using the typical build, the Q2, the W2 for the Bow of Badon, which is a typical full run build for the Badon. He was hitting his C's, but I still stuck with these builds because against a Badon or against a bow, just in general, if they want a kite, you do have unlimited range with this. So if you're just accurate with this, that's good. Also have a healing potion equipped instead of a Gigantify potion. So the first engage, might not actually see this in the video, but the first engage I was using the Gigantify potion. The correct potion there was the healing pots. And then he switched over to this build right here, which is less than ideal. It's more of a brawl build. And if they're using this brawl build, just make sure that you're moving well so that they don't combo you with Ray of Light and then E. This is a really weird build for a Badon against a Frost, but still stick to the basics. Be accurate with your E's. And if you can bait their Hunter Hoods so that you can double E with a lot of damage. And just be accurate with their Qs. And obviously time your reflex better. And when they're using this, try to time their your reflect with this Ray of Light. Like if you see their character just aiming up, press Hunter Hood or this one right here, this Inferno Shield. That was way too close. That was dumb. That was just dumb. Alright, so for that was just me making a mistake. I absolutely should have been on Gigantify Potion to counter his Death Word Climax, but if you saw there, maybe did not because I was blocking the way. I just kept on tagging him with the W and E from afar. W and E from afar, and it's kind of reset that, and like W in from afar. I did switch to the Cleanse ability on the helmet because he had the silence on his helmet as well. So you can basically just counter this with your Cleanse helmet right here. But he wasn't able to do that. But he was able to tag me with a couple of Qs, which In general, if you are being patient, you can just outrange with this and this, right? And just outrange up whatever. So be more patient with those kinds of fights, unless you just want to be destroyed like that, because they can actually win. Wait, why am I getting normal attacked? Does he die? Can he survive? 16 health? Yeah, I don't think he can. GG, sir. That was actually a good fight. So it is a sword. It is a broadsword. Rare. It is very rare. But again, still same combo. Same combo, same skills. I thought of switching to cleanse on the hood because a cultist cowl, you can cleanse this. But I realized as a frost, you don't really spam skills. Like you can wait for this to just expire. So what I did there is when he used his cultist cowl, I just used my hunter hood. So it basically cancels everything out. It gives me the defense and it gives him the reason to not attack me. So it basically cancels each other out. And I tried to counter one of his E abilities with my Inferno Shield, just a little bit more defense and a little bit of reflect. But the strategy there is pretty straightforward. Hit your Qs, hit your Ws, hit your Es. It's pretty much it because it is a brawl build. When I saw his mercenary jacket pop though, I did try to use my boots to get out of there just to counter his mercenary jacket so it doesn't heal off of me. But pretty straightforward as you saw there. You do have unlimited range with your W ability again, and you can chase with the W ability. Come on! Come on! No! I lost just because he's so good at dodging my Qs and Ws. That's insane. I do still believe those are the right skills to have. You have to counter the bear with your reflex and try to gigantify the first bear so you're immune to the roar. But holy crap, he's just so good at dodging skills. So if you can land your Qs and Ws better than I did there, you can win against those builds. Not against Yuri Barao though, or Yuri Bravo. It's too good. It's just frustrating for him, dude. It's just so frustrating for this guy. It's insane. I just outranged him. And he trapped himself, actually. Let's get rid of that. Oh, it cleansed too early? He just popped his smart lock cape. It doesn't have any reflect. Oh my gosh. Dude, I think there's no need for explanation for that. I just outrange him. He doesn't have reflect. Be patient. If he uses boots, if he uses his boots, use your boots as well to maintain the distance and just tag him with Qs, Ws mostly. And if he's close, he doesn't have reflect, you can just double E. That is wow. Really? Oh shoot. Oh shoot. Alright, against a fire staff, you outrange fire staffs. It is, again, same skill set. You outrange him. I don't know why he was using firewall there. But just in case he's using artillery, you can just burst him down. You can use your Hunter Hood differently than I did. Use your Hunter Hood to actually reflect the full cast E. Or if you don't have it, use your Inferno Shield. Just have any defensives. And I did use Gigantify. Because he was on Firewall, you can go over the Firewall using a Gigantify potion, but usually that's not worth it. Now you can also use Gigantify potion to counter or at least negate a lot of the damages from a full cast E and outrange. You have unlimited range and good damage for this one. I died to that. Holy shoot. What? How? I didn't have a way to actually get rid of his mercenary jacket. I am very surprised that I'd lost to that. I did not utilize my range. I brawled because I was afraid of getting the bat. I should have taken advantage of my range and used my same mobility as his to keep the distance, similar to how I did it with the bolt casters. Alright, that was a mistake. I should have not brawled.